All right, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy Official Go Getter. I'm coming at you guys with a video talking about how I personally, what steps I use to invest in the stocks and find these stocks that I invest in. Right, so these are the 3 steps that I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna try to get this done in 12 minutes. Right, I want to keep you guys' attention span intact, so bear with me, give me the time, and just understand that I'm getting straight to the point. Right, so we're gonna focus on these 3 principles, man. We focus on if the stock or the company is top in the sector, we look at the company's financials, and then we look at what this company adds to the economy. So top in the sector, company's financials, what do they add to the economy? Let's start with top in the sector. So right here on TradingView, all I did is, right now I'm at the largest cap companies, the 100 largest cap companies, right? And we'll just start here. Actually, I was gonna move somewhere else, but let's just start here. So what market cap is basically the amount of money that the company has invested into them. So Apple right here, Apple has 3.3 trillion market of 3.3 trillion dollars of market cap invested into them. Right, Microsoft, they have 2.8 trillion dollars of market cap, and NVDA right here is the one that we're going to be speaking about today, because we hear a lot about NVIDIA, but why? Right, why does it say strong buy? Right, why does it say all these things? Right, we're going to be looking at why the company is actually a good company, why you hear NVIDIA being talked about a lot, and it's not for no reason. So these are the largest companies in the US. NVIDIA is within the 3 largest companies in the US, right? First, not only are they top in their sector, but they are top in the country, right? We want to look at companies. These are the top 100 companies that are top in the country. We don't just look at companies that aren't top of the country. That's when you just go seek the small cap companies that are very volatile and you're looking for a big return very quick. But we don't look at that. No, we're looking for a consistent, valuable, quality asset, right? That's going to grow for us over time. We're not looking for a quick gain when it comes down to investing your money and using the compound effect, right? You're looking for quality companies, and you're looking to place your money somewhere so it can grow for you over time, right? 20% a year, 30% a year, right? And then over time, when it comes down to these companies, how the compound effect works, 30% a year, or over 5 years, the company is up 500%. NVIDIA, in this case, we're going to talk about how it's up 1.6 thousand% in the last 5 years. So when it comes down to investing in your money, when it comes down to buying and holding in the stock market, and buying and holding in any asset, if I'm being real, the key is to hold it, right? You buy it and you hold it. That's the name of the game. So NVIDIA is top 3, but let's look at their company, their competitor, AMD. So NVIDIA and AMD, they're semiconductor companies, right? And what these semiconductor companies do is they build the chips, the graphic computer units, GPU, and then the central processing unit, CPU. Right here, we can see that AMD, NVIDIA's competitor, is not even in the top 100 largest cap companies in the US. So that's a point in itself. This is why we only focus on investing into quality companies and real assets that have the numbers to back it up, not just because they're a top company. No, you want to look at the companies that have a moat. And what a moat is what do I have that causes me to be way better than you? And that's what we're going to be talking about, right? The moat is the advantage. So NVIDIA, top 3 largest cap company in the US. It has $2.9 trillion invested into them, and we can see over the last 5 years on this chart, they are up 1.67%, right? On the year, they're up 22%, right? In the last year to date, they are down 18%, and we're going to be talking about why we buy at these moments and not panic and sell. So let's dig into truly what NVIDIA does. Like I already explained to you, right? When it comes down to artificial intelligence, I'm going to explain it like this. NVIDIA is the top dog. NVIDIA creates the chips and the power to power these artificial intelligence products, right? So we aren't going to be able to move our country or move our economy the way we want to high tech and AI tech without NVIDIA. Literally, the world doesn't move without NVIDIA. So let's talk about the company's financials, right? So right now we looked at top in the sector, and now we're going to get into the company's financials and what that even means. So when it comes down to it in the stock market, when a company says, okay, I want to list my company as a public company and make it publicly traded, when it comes down to that, The trade-off is, yes, other people are allowed, the public is, yes, allowed to invest into me, but the trade-off is I have to release all my numbers to the public. So right now we're going to talk about all those numbers, right? So right now we are looking at the income statement. So this is, we are able to look at, we have legal obligation to look at total revenue, gross profit, and their operating income. So when we look at total revenue, what we want to look for is it growing over time, right? So in quarter one of 2023, we can see that their total revenue was 7.19 billion. And let's fast forward to today. 39.3 billion is their total revenue. So year over year growth, well, we see 7 billion, 13 billion, 18 billion, 22, 26, 30, 35, and now we're at 39 today. So their gross profit, we also want to see that grow over time. And what the gross profit is, okay, yes, you made 39 billion, almost 40 billion, but how much did you keep, right? How much of it was it yours? Because if it took you, let's say, if it took you 30 billion to make 30 billion, right? Or if it took you 25 billion to make 30 billion, right? That's not a lot of profit that you're able to keep. That's not a lot of money that you're able to use to keep the business running efficiently. Everything is tight. So what we're looking at here is this growing over time? You see 9 billion over here in quarter 2 of 2023. And then today you see quarter 4 of 2024, you have 28 billion. So you got 9 billion, you got 13 billion, you got 16 billion, 20 billion, 22, 26, 28. So that tells us they are keeping 28 billion out of the 39 billion that they make. So it takes them 10 billion to create almost 40 billion. That's a good profit margin, right? A very good profit margin. That means they're keeping, what is that? Let me do my math real quick. I believe that means that they're keeping 30 to 40% of their money, right? That's their gross profit margin. Correct me if I'm wrong. So then we see the operating income. This is how much it takes for them to operate. But once you do the total revenue math and the gross profit math and see that it's growing year over year, because that's what we want to pay attention to, right? So now we can see, okay, NVIDIA is not just a company that's just good because, right? Now we see why. We understand what the company does, right? And we understand that it's top in its sector, it's top in the world. And then we see the company's financials matches why it's top in the world. This company is growing over time. This company keeps a lot of their money. That gives them the ability to do a lot more to grow the company, right? Now we look at their balance sheet. So now we're going to look at the total assets versus the liabilities. And what assets versus liabilities are is basically what are assets are basically things that you put money in that give you a return. So when we talk about stocks, real estate, crypto, those are assets. This is putting your money into quality assets, right? Because yes, any stock is an asset, right? But isn't a quality asset, because a quality asset doesn't have to always give you a return, which is why we put our money into quality companies. So we have NVIDIA, right? Total assets, right? Year over year, the total assets have grown from 2023 quarter 1, 44 billion to quarter 4, 2024, quarter 4 2024, we're at 111 billion now. So these are the assets. This is the money that they have working for them, not the money that they use and they have on hand, right? Because when you have money in the stock market, when you have money in the crypto market, this is the money that you have working for you. This is not the money that you have on hand, right? So you have total liabilities, year over year growth, and then you have the so what we want to pay attention to here. Sorry about that. Moving a little bit too quick. When it comes down to assets and liabilities, we want to pay attention to all your assets over your liabilities. Do you have more assets? Do you have more money working for you than you have more money not working for you? So liabilities, as we can see right here, yes, it's grown over time, right? But you need some liabilities sometimes to, make the company grow, right? But all we want to pay attention to, because we're going to have liabilities the same way you're going to have liabilities in your life. You just need to make sure that your liabilities are less than your assets, right? So right here, we can see that 111 billion in assets. Sorry, they have 111 billion in assets as of quarter 4 of 2024, and they have 32 billion in liabilities. That's the type of number we're looking for, right? We want to see you having more money working for you, and seeing that you're being able to manage your finances well, because that means you're able to manage the company well, and then This money is money that the company will use in the future to create more things for the company. So those are the assets and liabilities, right? So we just looked at the income statement, right? We're looking at the financials right now. We look at the income statement, right? We just looked at the balance sheet, and now we want to move to the cash flow, right? So what the cash flow is, how much money are you able to have to just flow into the business, right? So the cash flow is how much cash do you have? How much cash do you have on hand to buy things right now, right? So the cash flow right here, we want to see that grow over time, right? So with NVIDIA, we see right here that in quarter one of 2023, they didn't have a lot of cash flow, or they did, but not as much as they do now. 2.9 billion in cash flow, right? And then we go to 6 billion, 7 billion, 11 billion, 15 billion, and now we're at 16 billion, right? We have less cash flow than we have less cash flow in quarter four 2024 than we had in quarter three 2024, right? You can look at things like that and say, okay, what did they do to cause them to have less cash flow, right? And it's probably not a big factor because they came out with new products and they probably used that cash flow that they had, which is what it's supposed to be used for, to invest and create these new products, right? We just saw that NVIDIA had their keynote moment and they had the robot on stage, right? Because NVIDIA had a tech conference and they were talking about AI, right? And how AI, we're going in the next phase of AI, which is agentic AI, which is when the robot is able to kind of have its own reasoning, and that's when the robots kind of come out. So that's the next phase that we're into, and he was talking about that. And yeah, let me find NVIDIA robot on stage. So this is an AI powered robot, right? NVIDIA creates all these things, right? This is what NVIDIA does. NVIDIA creates the chips, like I said, and morality. They create the chips, like I said, and they also create the GPUs, graphic processing units. So that's how you make the games look so realistic. And they also make the CPUs, the central processing units, right? And then they also make the semiconductor chips, which power AI. So these humanoid bots aren't happening without NVIDIA semiconductor chips, right? So you had this is the owner, Jensen Huang, right here, and he had the robots on stage during the conference.
Because I honestly have to give Disney's robotics team a major round of applause, because what they've been able...
That's the dude talking. I don't want to listen to him. I wanted to see the owner right here. Let me see. I want you guys to see it. Let me fix this real quick. Oh my gosh. Right there. You can see the owner right there. That's him. Jensen Huang. And then that's the robot that he created. And then these are the other ones that he had. And all these are built using the semiconductor chips that NVIDIA creates, right? So our world doesn't change the way we want it to in the AI scene without him and his company. So we looked at the financials. I ran you guys through the financials. And honestly, the cash operating from accounts is different than free cash flow. So this is the free cash flow, right? That's what you want to look for, the free cash flow. Sorry, we looked at this one before. This is growing over time, right? But this is the free cash flow. That's the true money that they have to just do whatever they want with at any given time. So 2.6 billion, 6 billion, 7 billion. We see that this grows over time, and that's what you want to pay attention as well, right? Once again, last quarter is different than this quarter, and that is most likely due to the products that they just created, and they use that money to create those products, which is what they're supposed to do, right? So I told you guys I would keep this about 12 minutes. It's 14 minutes. Lastly, what do they add to the economy? We already talked about what NVIDIA adds to the economy. I just told you they are running the AI space. They are running the semiconductor space. And our economy doesn't move into the AI space the way we want it to without NVIDIA. So we see NVIDIA is top 3 within the largest cap companies in the U.S. Crazy thing is, this is the last thing I'm going to say. All these companies, top tech companies, work with NVIDIA and buy their chips to make sure that their AI is running efficiently. So these companies can't run as efficiently as they need to the next few years without NVIDIA's chips. And on top of that, we already know NVIDIA is already changing the world. So that's why we buy NVIDIA at the dip. That's why we buy quality companies at the dip. And this is how you decipher whether or not you are buying a quality company and how I find my stocks to invest in. It's your boy Official Go Getter, and I'm out.